coming?
She said she was coming. Maybe she forgot. Her daughter was 16 now.
Ceiling tiles and the lights are actually
Yes.
4 foot wide. Literally the
They're
cross
not on the
section.
minutes.
It's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 feet wide.
And then we probably should say that we question whether Graves, because we didn't have it yet.
Did you end up having it or not yet?
We did get it, but it wasn't fully completed, and then we just sent questions. And then he answered them pretty rapidly, but,
But
so.
at the time of the meeting, you had
I
sort
did
of-
not have them, he said that he had done them. So there was a date issue,
Okay.
you know, a confusion about the date that was on the plan versus the date that he had sent them to, you know, it was sort of like they went like this, but ultimately they were done. Yeah. So, Corinne, on the second page, you have the peer review by Graves Engineering had not been done. We should probably clarify that and state that it was unclear. The commission questioned whether they were done because we hadn't received a report.
So, yeah, it has not been done on the new proposed plan. So put that it was unclear whether it had been done?
Yeah, because we hadn't received a copy of it, but the applicant did state that it was done, we just hadn't received it.
Okay.
So, and that we needed to follow through with that. Also, I'd like you to add that we had asked about, there was a basin that is going onto West Brookfield's property.
On what?
On West Brookfields, there's a basin that dumps out onto a property on West Brookfield.
And more about that.
We asked if they approved that. And
Okay.
the applicant did state that they had all the permits in hand.
They have permits and plan in hand?
That's what the applicant stated.
Was that only one basin?
Yeah, it was basin 9.
Okay.
She's still had a couple typos.
Okay.
a couple of typos when you're ready, Corinne.
Mhm.
The guardrails would be replaced, it said damaged by cares.
Now, where,
Second page, second to last paragraph.
guardrails?
Yeah, the guardrails, the last word on the first line.
It's supposed to be cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the next paragraph down, just the seconded is capitalized in the middle of the sentence.
The next one down?
Yeah, motion was made for negative determination of applicability by Mr. Shillieto and seconded.
Oh. Alright, so that's a small.
I'm good after that.
Okay,
I'm all set.
okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes with changes?
Motion to accept the minutes of March 21st with changes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Do we have any bills to pay?
Yes.
I should do that now.
I talked to Mr. Richard today, Tim, and, oh, Brian.
Mr.
Why did
O'Brien.
I say Richard?
Yeah, I know.
This here's all he has to pay these people. He said he's never gotten a bill. It's like a donation for the water testing, and he said he did not have a bill last year. But I don't know if you signed that, if Madeline will get paid or not.
For the next meeting, please have the board approve the issue check for this year's water quality.
It goes under as a donation, but they test the water.
Right.
And I asked him about a bill, he says he's never.
$2.15 for this year's
gotten a
water.
bill. So I don't know if you sign that, I don't know if Madeline's gonna accept it or not, I guess. is
Well, why
what I'm
not?
saying.
Have the board approve and issue a check for this year's water quality sampling. So is that for 2 years?
No, I guess that's every year he does that?
Yeah, we've been doing this every year, and it comes
Right.
out of Lucy Stone, so it's, right?
The unrestricted
Comes out
one,
of the, that's our.
It could be in
or the
the,
gift one?
it could be, why don't we, because let's take it out of the restricted one.
All right, because we have to tell Madeline exactly which account.
Okay, let's take that out of restricted, because restricted has a lot of rules, and this is fine. All right, restricted.
I'm just hoping she doesn't say, where's the bill, because that is the bill.
Oh, did,
Because there's no per se real bill, because it's like a donation type thing.
well, I don't know what we did last year. Do you know what we did last year?
I don't, I wasn't here and I didn't get a chance to get to Rachel.
Well, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll talk to Madeline tomorrow about it.
and we just need to sign all of these, right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion to ratify, to pay these bills? And then you can just,
Make a motion to pay the bills. Where do you start? Payroll?
start with the top, with, not payroll, for, underneath it, the bullet underneath. CR,
CR, C4 RWC for $215 for Lucy Stone Park.
okay,
For Turkey Hill Broad Farm, for Lucy Stone Park for $150.
okay,
Mass COR bill for $399.50.
what is that?
That's not there?
No, it is, but I was just
Oh.
wondering what it was for, okay,
Gatehouse New England Publishing bill for $21.84.
okay,
GZA environmental bill for Coy Hill Review for $1,140.
is that for you guys? Oh, all right, and then,
GZA environmental bill for 749 Reed Street for $3,200.
yeah,
Expenses for Kareen criminal reimbursement certified mail DOT for $329.19 for $7.55.
okay, can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have the payroll? I have a motion to ratify.
By payroll for Green, for March 23rd, 2019, for $109.80.
Yeah,
March 30th, for the amount of $106.48.
okay.
April 6th, for $106.48.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so these have been signed, let's go back. Is there any other, covered on it? Any mail?
Mail, yes. That's mail, and then the budget sheet for March.
Oh, all right, so here's, are we backing up? Are we gonna get a backup? You know anything about that? We're not backing up our system.
Backing up.
Yes, so like making a copy of what's on the computer.
I thought they had done that.
It's gotta happen on a regular basis. Do you have any idea? I don't think anybody's doing it, I don't really know. So one of the things, we could either do a cloud-based backup, or there's something that you can do the backup, and we can just buy you
Like the external drive?
yep. There's some software that you would put on it that you would so what it does, it just checks the system to see what's changed, and then it backs up only the things that need to be.
Oh, okay.
But if the town hall isn't doing it, we need to do that.
So how would I find out if they're doing it or not doing it?
I can call Becky and ask, but remind me, would you?
Mhm.
Like in 2 weeks,
Okay.
remind me, because this is gonna be the time for us to, there's a couple of services.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if one is easy, as soon as you turn on the computer, it's gonna back up, and you don't have to do anything, and it's almost probably a better choice.
The
Do
one
you guys
that's
have any-
playing, the external drive, is that what you're talking about?
Cloud-based stuff will have like a membership or something you'll have to
Right,
pay
it would
for.
be like a $10 a month, my husband looked it up for me.
$10 a month is not bad. How much data do you have on the computer? And if it's,
It's not a lot, I mean, it's a lot, well, it could be getting big, because now people send documents that are huge.
Do you have huge PDF files? They take forever to open. They're like 8 megabytes each. I gotta go.
I only send you 4 revisions.
All at
Change the
once.
smallest thing.
Oh my gosh, right, so anyway,
you can get 500 gigabytes worth of external storage for $20 or $30. It's really cheap. It's just up to whether you want to be bothered with doing it.
right,
Where
I
would
mean,
we
so
keep
the
it?
external storage is pretty inexpensive,
Mm.
but then you have to do it, I mean, you have to do
Do
it
it.
faithfully.
Put it in the safe with,
Put it in the safe that we
Nancy
can't
safe,
open.
right?
Oh,
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
we
where you
can
gonna
stick
put
in
it though, that's the only thing.
Right.
Nancy safe, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess Nancy has one that we can put it into, yes. All right, something
Like
to
a
think about,
fireproof thing?
but if you guys have
Yeah,
an
we say
opinion
Nancy's
about
on.
one or the other,
No real strong opinion.
okay.
Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, that's right, I totally get where you're coming from, okay. He doesn't open up those files, so I guess.
Do you want me to ask Kathy what they're doing, if they're doing anything?
Yeah, sure. And,
I'll talk
and
to
then,
her.
because for some reason I thought that we were gonna be doing something, so it's okay, all right.
Can you put different departments onto one drive, or does each department need its own?
Well, yeah, I would think, I mean, an external drive is, $75.
Well, I didn't know if one person for the town hall could be in charge of going back and everybody's up.
Well, I think that they were gonna do it automatically, but I don't know where that's at.
I know, I thought they had an IT guy.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably
What-
gonna
what
get
did
taxed
he
with the
do?
new budget. so.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't really know. All right, this is done, so we can pass that down,
Maybe
and
lucky
we
they'll
need to
have a
open up
computer to run it.
the public
Electricity.
hearing for 777 Coy Hill.
Yes, ma'am?
How are you today?
Well, thank you.
So let's talk about your crossing. All right, so 777 Coy Hill for everybody. The only changes that were made to the existing plans was the crossing for the road, and you have a bridge of sort, and you're spanning it with,
Conspan corrugated metal arch. It's basically pour 2 footings on either side.
yep,
Place it down, fill over the top. That way, no replication, no
And you're-
impact to the wetlands.
no impact to the, so you're going to go over the bank and then on the other side of each,
We
and
keep
then,
4 feet off of the edge, in the closest 4 feet off of the edge of the delineated wetland area,
okay,
and span it, and shouldn't be no replication required, no, just stay out of the wetlands, only work in the buffer zone now.
see? Love it, right?
When you've got the
You
narrow
know,
wetlands,
ultimately-
like, you go to 30 feet, that probably isn't practical, but like 12 feet, you just jump right over it.
It's certainly, I know that spans are not cheap, but I think ultimately it's probably less expensive for you to do this.
Replication is challenging, and that's what all of our guys said, your guys, our guys, like, it's not really like an obvious replication target out here. And then
Right.
you have to keep working at it, because if it's not naturally a wetland now, it might not naturally wanna be a wetland.
Well, I mean, there are places adjacent to wetlands that you could,
Hmm.
but it's never a guarantee. And what our guys did say is that replicating a small wetland is just as expensive as
Yeah.
replicating a big wetland.
That's why I'm willing to
because-
go spend 30 grand on
Right.
a crossing instead of digging a hole in the field and trying to increase the wetland. That's
And
just-
it keeps us out of your hair too, so that's really a,
Well, and if I'm gonna dig a bunch of holes next to the wetlands, might as well span it, like, that's impact to the wetland. You know, practically, if it's right on the edge of it, I'd rather just not have to do it.
right. And then you'd have to come back for
Yeah, then
2 years.
no one
and
wants
then
that
it's-
homework.
right. Love it, okay. So this is all the detail you have about this, you don't have like the corrugated, do you have the detail on the,
At this point in time, it hasn't been engineered, obviously.
okay,
They don't want to spend, till they have a full project, not go out and
okay,
spend the
so
money.
this is concept still,
This
Yes.
is a concept, but, obviously they'd have to go out and do test pits, but Conspan would do the design if you buy it from them, and, it's,
right,
once they go to build it, basically, they're gonna have to get permits, and you'd have to submit an engineered plan for that,
right,
so.
So what I would think the process would be is, if we can have the conceptual approval here, I'll go do the same thing with planning board and really engage with fire to see if they're happy with the crossing.
okay,
And then I would say a condition of a NOI might be to bring it back to you when we do the building permit and show you the design.
so this is what we're gonna do.
Okay?
We are not going to close this hearing, and we're gonna keep it open. For the reason I sent that note. I know, I'm gonna write planning board a note,
Okay.
because we still have the back.
Oh, gotcha. I was gonna ask that we make it a condition of the NOI that we can't do any work until it's paid and kind of split the difference. That I can get an NOI, but I can't do anything with it.
Right.
And that keeps me from having to speculatively, get into Fred's business when I don't have a special permit or any of the other stuff.
I
Yeah, that's
understand that,
kinda-
I
there's
wish
sort
I
of,
could run my construction company like that.
I
But
would
I wanna
not
put in
try.
development, and I can't, I'm not privy to those sweet deals.
Right.
My
So-
speculation's all on me.
right? So what's it, the town has a bylaw that states that permit issuing departments, I can pull it out right here, I brought it specifically. It doesn't say do not have to, but it is, if there's taxes owed, then permits aren't issued. And so there's back taxes on this particular piece of property. These guys are the applicants, the property owner is separate, but we are, is this it? This is it. Denial by licensing authorities for delinquent taxpayers. And so essentially it just says that we may deny, revoke, or suspend any licenses or permits, et cetera, if taxes are owed. And so what we are going to do, I think, if this is okay with you guys, is what I can say is that we can write a letter to planning board and say, we like the span, if we like the span, if everybody, we can take a vote about the span, we can send planning board a note, and then you can move forward and have a conversation with them. They're happy to move forward with projects as long as we say this is good, whether or not there's a permit issue.
Okay.
So, and then that's where we're gonna stand. And I totally appreciate where you're coming from, but we're gonna hold firm to this,
Okay.
okay?
So just because I have to ask, there's no way I can, just because I don't want to have to keep coming to meetings.
You don't have to keep on coming,
Fun
because we will.
Tuesdays in Massachusetts, Western Mass.
Oh, God.
Could we issue the NOI and then immediately suspend it so it's just done and then we can
Oh, I
open
don't
it back
know
up?
about, I don't even know
Is that
anything
even
about
harder?
suspending, no.
Okay.
I mean, we can continue
Well,
the,
we can continue without you being here,
We
right?
can-
Yeah, so
continue
that's
that
like,
meeting.
as long as you guys are comfortable with some longer continuance process. I
Yeah.
try not to leave open-ended, meetings like that to do, because that can be
Right.
against board's preferences to have us on the agenda every week or every cycle for, until
well, we're
I can
not
get it
here every
resolved.
week, so this is
But yes,
okay,
ma'am.
right?
So I think, that'll take a couple meetings with planning to, get where we need to get.
Get to where you need to get, and then let's, so if you would write the note and just make sure that, it's clear that we have agreed
Mhm.
that we will continue the hearing until you can figure out what your
Yes,
decisions
ma'am.
will be.
And then otherwise, can we also, I guess, agree that the design is set from the Conservation Commission's perspective?
I mean, this is conceptual, I would like to see more detail
Okay.
about this specific, what are you gonna use? Where are the footings gonna go? Something a little more specific. This is like a nice little, this is conceptual.
Well, it is conceptual. I am showing footings on there.
Oh,
so
you are?
Yeah, you can see,
Should have made
the
it 5 to
concrete
1.
is right here. So
Mhm.
basically the arch, they pour those footings and then they
Do you have
basically.
plans for us?
We provided those, but this is the same thing I emailed you.
Yeah, this is the.
but
that-
physical
No, do you
plans.
have like a physical plan of just, you don't have to send the whole thing because, that's a lot of paper, but just specifically for,
I believe we mailed
sent it.
those
Did you send
right
it?
after because
Yeah,
I know
at
You have
Sean.
this?
last meeting.
Sean, yeah, because I believe Sean had checked with you and
do we
then.
have this? Do you
FedEx
have
them.
these plans? Apologies if,
I
I
think we
believe
sent them
they
after
were-
the last meeting because we haven't had any changes.
Yeah,
since
once we did this,
designed
I
that
believe
out.
they were FedExed out before the last meeting.
That's February 13th, permit drawings for Toy Hill Solar.
it would be
Little
March,
ones.
right? Or February?
It-
I think might have
I
been-
don't think anything came
I don't think we had anything for the last meeting.
All right, we're
Because
gonna,
I emailed it to you before the last meeting,
Yeah.
more or less the day of when I got it from these guys.
which was
and we
in.
last,
Big plan?
And then we just
Yeah,
pressed
they would've
on to
been
this
full
meeting.
size that we FedExed.
So we can send you another one if you guys decide.
no, let's
you don't
look for it
have
first. I'd rather not have, I'm just gonna get up and look over here.
Yeah, if it's not here, we'll just, another one, it's the same.
Yeah, and I don't, I'd rather not have all that extra paper. Okay, oh, I see what you're saying.
And what we kind of looked at were like design standards for the crossing, that we shall be no more than X feet, next to the wetlands. We'll
Right.
need a width, instead of the full design at the moment,
Yeah?
to give you design standards we shall meet, and then we can engineer it fully later.
Sure.
And that gives you because I can't tell
Did
you
you have that?
the standards.
Yes.
I believe they're in the plan set there. I mean, that's what we designed too, but we can also add them as a condition or put them on the plan.
Well, no, I would like the.
We don't know who technically, Conspan is one, they hadn't picked a manufacturer.
We don't need to know that, we just.
I mean,
No, I don't
We
need
just
to,
need to
but,
know the impact parts.
right.
Yeah, we're
So,
showing the impact part, but again, it
Just like a narrative paragraph.
Yeah,
That would
of the-
be either on the plan,
mhm.
if you could do that, I mean, that's even better. Just say it will be, footings will be no closer than this.
Certainly, yeah, we can describe it without having to use the brand name of the.
Right, because I
Right.
look at that, I mean,
We don't care, we don't care about the arts, we don't care about any of that.
I don't care about the arch, I
don't
just
care
care,
about the
right,
work.
exactly.
How close is it to the wetlands?
How
Yeah.
close is it to the wetlands and,
Mhm.
and what is
Yeah,
the
what do the
impact?
footings look
Yeah.
like, what is the impact, what will be
And
there?
And I-
may
yeah,
The
actually,
footing, we don't
footing.
even care about the footing, I mean, we're not,
yeah,
it's just, how, some elevations, how deep you're
Roger,
gonna
so how about
go,
we,
things like that.
Yeah, and that we won't have
Yeah.
until you get an actual
Yeah,
meeting,
so let's
how
do-
deep because they gotta do tests to find out how
I mean,
deep they gotta go.
Even the depth
Right.
really doesn't really matter to us,
As long
really
as
just where the work is, you know, that's
so let's,
the impact.
Well, I mean, right, it
Doesn't really
potentially
matter.
could, but that's the stuff that we would ultimately need before we really do
It
close
doesn't matter if
and.
they're 2 feet deep or 4 feet deep,
Right, no, it doesn't, but,
you know, I mean, just,
So you're keeping it open now anyway,
We're gonna
correct?
keep it
Well, and
open
we're gonna
anyway.
go through planning,
yeah,
and maybe at that point in time, once
have a little
we,
more specification.
once we go through that and you're ready to go,
Mhm.
maybe at that point in time, we got, you
Yeah,
guys
but
go, okay, it's worth getting the design at that point.
But if, I mean, if planning doesn't require me to engineer the bridge now, which I don't think
They
they
won't.
would, like, I'd like to not have to spend that money and let it sit for a long period of time for a project the way I expect to build it, there are no promises.
How about
Yeah.
this?
So-
I got an idea. Yeah. How about within the condition, you say no closer than 4 feet to the edge of the delineated wetland?
but I don't want the onus on me, I want the onus on you.
whatever you guys put, if you guys gonna change it, then just come back and change it.
Right,
Yeah.
Just put whatever you want,
Yeah.
you know, put whatever, what you're doing.
Right now, yeah,
Yeah, just-
right now,
Right
what
now.
we're proposing is exactly right
Mhm.
there. I mean,
I mean, it's an open NOI, we're not closing anything, so.
we're not gonna close it,
So
right.
when you
All
get
I
the final
just-
design, just, when you're all done, then
I'm
come back.
gonna
and
have
we'll
to,
just-
so I guess I don't wanna leave, and this is just our technique of how we do it. I'm gonna have to close the NOI to get a SMART award for the solar stuff. Like, I have to have all my necessary permits. So leaving this open for the, I mean, that could be 6 months
Well, when you finish, when you're final,
with the planning board, but then
you
I
can have your
guess,
plans ready for the building permit.
that's the question, like, I have to close the NOI before I get to a building permit. I'd like to not leave the NOI open for a year and a half.
Well, you,
because-
when you get your planning.
Well, the
permit-
NOI's got nothing to do with your building permit.
No, but it does have a lot to do with my solar stuff. They require all necessary permits.
So, but your
I know.
permit will happen at the same time as the planning board. Once you go through planning and you're ready to get your permit, if planning issues a permit, then we can issue a permit and vice
Okay.
versa.
Perfect.
So we can do that
Yes, ma'am.
simultaneously. It's not gonna,
I don't want to wait on, like, say, kicking the can down the road to the planning board's approval to then require engineering.
it's not the planning board
package.
approval that we're holding back on. Part of it is just a brief narrative of this is what this is it, this is what we're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
And if
And
the work doesn't change from that, then
if it doesn't
Yeah,
change
that's-
from that, and that, I mean, even when I look at that, is that, are those footing, I don't know what those, I mean, if you look at it, you might say, oh yeah, those are clearly footings, because that's what you do. To me, it's not clear.
Well,
So,
there's no sections. But
There's
no-
what?
there's no cross
There's no
sections.
typical
It's not-
sections,
Yeah,
that's all.
it's not
Right.
designed.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
not-
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. But
Right.
which is the design standards to the bridge, and we'll put it on the plan set. We'll get you the copies of that.
right, just like, no,
And we'll-
right, yeah.
And the bigger thing is just a narrative of what you're doing and what the work actually is, not the design or not the.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so basically, you'd like to say, we're gonna put
Where
footings
they're
on
gonna
either
hold,
side,
where
we'll
they're
keep them
gonna hold
4
here,
feet
you know, what I
here.
mean, locate where
We're
it's
gonna
gonna be.
span it, we have on
5
there
feet up
20 foot
in the
long,
buffer-
15 foot wide.
Where
Would
is
you
the
like
buffer
a
zone?
little-
Just
maybe
It
a
could be
little
wider,
bit-
it could be whatever, but as long as you give us an idea of where you're, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be, right.
And then when you
Yeah,
get your
so-
final plan, as long as you're within those parameters, you
Yeah,
got, if you
use
go.
words like no
If you
closer
say it's
than.
20 feet wide,
Yeah.
it's 30 feet
Sure.
wide, well then just change it.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Super.
exactly. That is spot on.
Alright.
So, right, again, we are waiting to we're holding out for the compliance with the taxes.
Gotcha, and then since we can leave it open anyway, we'll get that addressed.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Yep, I'll go
Okay.
headbutt Fred till he pays me.
And so, I just want
Till he pays you.
to take a vote
So let it pay-
on
pays out.
this span and what we're doing here. Is everybody good?
I'm good. Good.
Okay?
Good.
All right, so what we're gonna do is, I'll have a motion to continue the public hearing until further notice, when payment is due, I mean, so that's what we're agreeing on.
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna receive just a quick parameter update.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have to print out all the pages, you can just do it on the appropriate ones that you're updating.
Okay.
Okay, because we don't really want all those additional pages, they end up in the trash. And I think that's it, so can I have a motion to continue the public hearing, and we can just put it to next month, where we'll continue it again until further notice.
Mhm.
Okay, and we're good with that,
Yep.
okay.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Well,
Okay.
now it's a lighter headache than some of your other projects, the bigger stuff.
Yes, no, this is good, we like it when people are out of the wetland areas.
If you can stay out, it's the easiest way.
Exactly.
I make that motion.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I won't repeat.
I was waiting for you.
Sorry.
I don't think, did you have another meeting tonight?
We do. At 7:45.
Oh, wow.
What would be the-
Scheduling this one at what time?
I mean, we could-
So why don't we
Okay.
schedule this at 7:10?
There's 17.
Really?
Because we're just gonna
I'm sure.
continue it. Okay.
That is just
That is actually good.
to be at every meeting.
that is just too
Oh,
many
Okay,
meetings.
so
It's just
I,
throw it out a number.
even though this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
CBT, I
I'll
came
write
up
it.
with special conditions for
You wanna
the
go
rest
higher
of,
with that number. We get close.
for the next project. Did you go and make copies for us? We can see
How many copies
if,
did you want, Beth?
just
For
for,
everybody?
yep, 3, well, you can just do 3.
Okay.
Fighting through the design.
Or do 4, 1 for you too.
Okay.
What are we stuck on now?
Okay, while we
What
have
is
some
it?
time,
What aren't we stuck?
it's not on the agenda, but I asked Corinne to bring
Simple instructions.
Bragg Road. And I wanted to look at the plans, and we have 15 minutes. And I have plans, but I wanted like the ANRAD.
The drag road?
Yeah.
Across the revolvers up there, Joe?
Yeah.
All right,
The moratorium or not?
all right, so those are updated sheets, and I just need to know which ones they
So what
are.
happened here? Oh, they just doing the
All right, this is the updated version.
Several months ago.
Right,
I think you were.
yeah, right. I just is knowing why we're coming back to this one.
Well, we're not really sure what's going on with this, but I just wanted to make sure that it's completely out of,
Oh, they sent new plans.
they
Yeah,
did.
They're trying to apply now for a project. Moratorium's in place, so I don't know how this is gonna work out.
I wonder if these match. They're not gonna match at all. It's gonna drive me crazy. All right, so there's nothing, sorry. What do we have anything down here? Is this only where the,
I think everything was up here. I don't think there was anything down here.
there's nothing down here, right? So we're
This
looking at,
isn't the-
Yeah, it says,
yep. So this is just the big picture. Where's the
This has to
sheet?
be on
Where's
the
the
sheet.
index? I just wanna make sure that the
Sheet
index
six.
are. Is this the same? Okay. All right, they did about the same, so it would be sheet 6,
Six,
7,
five,
4, and 5. All right, 107, 104, 106, 103. All right, go to, I think sheet 7. Is this it?
This is 7. 5 should be below it.
All right, and then this is, okay, that's right. Wetland comes down here, goes down the side. And then this is what they designed for, this is what they put in for
This is a buffer.
the 100-foot, which is about this, kind of about the same shape.
So
That's
this
different to
is
me.
different, that's more of a curve than.
And then this is different too. This looks about the same, right? But this is, right? That looks about the same. Has that big shoulder. But this,
That's different. That's not bad.
oh, this scoots in.
So you see the 900,
Is this the updated sheet? Maybe they updated this sheet. Is this an updated?
August 28th. revised, October 15th, that's updated.
Wow.
So, you see the 900?
Okay, A19, that's what we're looking for.
Right there.
A19. Okay,
Oh, so this is.
so they
this-
just,
This here,
they reshaped this.
oh, wait, something's really weird here, because this here is, what's the scale on that?
Here's a, oh, yeah, you know what, that
This is
is
40.
it. 40,
That's 40.
it's a totally different shape.
Something's wrong. Where's the match line?
It doesn't really have one. CP 103. Underneath it.
Where's A16?
A16 is right here.
Is that on the 940?
Wow, I think I really, this is 40, and this is 40, this is totally different.
So is that line up on the 940? It's 910, there's something off there.
It's-
Well, that's 910.
Is it 910?
910, it just looked like 40 because it's transferred to. So it should be on the 910.
Well, they're
line.
changing the shape of this, but this, I'm not really sure this is 100. They were a little less specific, maybe.
See
There's
this
like
little
that,
thing?
like this thing here is
Where's A-
this.
So A16's here. right?
A20, right here.
A16's here, so see this little thing here?
Yeah,
The power is right here. So this little thing,
they moved
Is
everything
this.
down.
well, this is this,
This is right here, is right here.
and this, for some reason, there's something,
Looks like the scales off.
the scales are
The
like way
scales
off.
are like completely different. Like completely different.
Well, that's a 20, isn't it? That's a 20 scale.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was like,
That's why, it's a 20 scale.
all right. My bad, I was
This is
looking
half,
up here.
so yeah, that's why it looks
Okay,
like it looks.
but generally the shape of the wetland is pretty right on, right? Here's the bump out, and then it goes in. Bumps out at 12, so on sheet 5. You see where A2 is? Okay. All right. And then, on this side, here. This is 20, that's 40, so I'm not sure. Where that is.
So this is sheet 5.
Sheet
Sheet
4.
5.
Sheet 4 has 55. At the very tip is A 55. What do you have?
81.
Oh my gosh.
What's this one? 15.
Oh, right here.
No, this is 2. 2, 2, 2, 5.
Oh, 85 is way down here. Okay. Yeah, the scale's throwing me off.
You have 55 for the component?
There is, see this wetland right here?
Here's,
This
maybe
is,
on this page.
this is,
You're looking for A55?
is that the sheet?
Right here.
It's gonna be on sheet 4,
Right here somewhere, right?
55.
So this is on sheet 7.
Sheet 7. Where's sheet 7 in there? Is that a different index?
This is 7.
Oh, all right, okay, all right.
This whole thing right here.
Yep, all right. That looks about right. 5 minutes. Okay. 14. Okay. And they're 100 feet away, 100 feet away. All right, I think it looks probably pretty good. I have no idea where this is. The index page. All right. 105, so there's nothing here. 103, 104, 106, 107. Okay, so this is the middle. And what is this? All right, they have
It's a basin.
a basin.
Basin's
What's all
here.
this stuff? Oh, site clearing zones, okay.
That's what I'm assuming. It's going down there. It's a basin
Oh.
here, that dump is in another basin.
They're doing site clearing zones in jurisdiction. Right? Here's the,
100 foot right here, so.
oh, is that the 100 foot? Okay, never mind. All right.
Looks like 120 everywhere.
It's not ours.
Let's put this basin's dumped into this little hole here. Dump it right.
And it goes down. So this is like a big level spreader. Is that,
No, that's a hole.
is that a, I mean, it looks like another basin. A basin is going into a basin.
It's almost a wall. I don't even know if they can do that. I guess you can.
Here's the resource area. Here's 100 feet. They did 120. Nice. Enormous basin. What is it? 20 foot? Well, all right, so
Hey,
they're
Mike,
doing that thing again. And
Can
it's
you
coming to
kinda-
wetlands. Interesting.
a little inappropriate right
I
now.
wonder if
in
this
meeting.
is the young woman engineer who's doing that. Stephanie. Okay. Huh? Right here. Oh, 11. 2018. I don't know that we have them. Oh, well, here's the stamp.
Okay, we'll talk after you.
Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Daniel Delaney, 1018. Nick, I think you're up. We're gonna open the public hearing for Cutler Road Extension in Pedro.
Is that yours?
Yep. Lawrence.
Wrote that deep. Well, pay for it.
I don't know when we'll receive it though. I don't know. They might be good.
All right, so for the record, Nick Fassandola, Level Design Group. Here with me tonight is Pedro Rodriguez, the applicant's representative. Following up from our continued public hearing, I believe the board was provided additional correspondence from Graves Engineering,
We were,
April 1st, I believe,
yep,
citing all issues. Site plan review items have been addressed.
yeah, I did, I sent a note to Graves through planning, since
Correct.
planning's the interface, and I had a couple more questions for him, but he responded and, said he was okay with the plans. And so that is the only thing that we were really waiting for, I mean, ultimately,
Mhm.
just to make sure that we had that. There was a crossing of dates, like you said, on the plans.
Yeah, I
There was
hope my
some-
email kind of explained how
Yeah, it was a
how
little
the-
confusing,
the
but.
plan data ended up. I should have dated it or waited to date it a couple days later just so it.
And the other thing is that we just never received any of the updated, and Graves's report
Mhm.
also didn't specify what the changes were that they reviewed, which is why I wanted to go back and also clarify that you did review this. You know, if you're looking at a new set of plans and there's 17 changes on it, it's important to list what those changes were, and we just weren't clear what the changes were on the plans.
Understandable.
So, I mean, he could have totally not even looked at that for all we know, just because he said he looked at the plans dated on this date, doesn't mean
Correct.
he did it.
And, you know, we did go over the comments provided to the planning board at our previous planning board hearing. Graves Engineering
Was here, yeah,
was
he's
present at the meeting, and we discussed it with the planning board. So we went over all those concerns, and you know, everything was addressed regarding those additional items. And you guys were provided the updated plan set that the April 1st letter
Right.
addresses. No changes or anything in jurisdiction. All I did was we removed a few tables for panels and shifted the battery over, so it's 300 feet away from the roadway as requested by the fire department. The only plan change that was done.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering why we had a new set of plans that looked the same to
And,
me,
yeah,
at least in
exactly the
regards to
same.
the things
We
that
just
we were
we
interested
took a
in.
couple panels out because we had to move the battery over because Chief wanted a 300-foot buffer from the roadway with the battery equipment.
Corinne, do you have the copies of what you just made?
So here's your original.
Thank you. So the final date of the plans just
Mhm.
is the 20, was it the 24th?
I believe so. March 27th.
Do you have a 24th on there too, as a,
14th?
is there ever a 24th? It's not funny. So March 27th is the last update.
There is a 24th, that was number 4. So there's 6 revisions on this.
And so which date was that? What,
That was
24th?
January 24th.
Oh, okay, all right. I knew I wasn't totally crazy.
Mhm.
All right. We went over quite a bit last week. Understandably, we have disagreements about ultimately how we want this to be done. But we did say that you could work in a certain amount of wetland, and we're gonna abide by that. I believe, unless, you know, I mean, that's something that we agreed on earlier. I did reach out to West Brookfield, and they said that you did not have the permits in hand that you assured us you had. They said you do not have they didn't issue permits.
We do have a special permit, it was recorded actually last week. We have a
Okay.
voice condition we recorded, and we also have the stormwater approval. We have
Okay.
all that in place.
So
We don't have
the
building
last month when,
They were granted.
They were granted. They gave us the last one was a stormwater approval, and we got it 4 weeks ago.
And just to clarify the record, we'll send you copies of those,
We can send
which
you
has the
copies.
dates.
okay, we just,
Go
I
back
mean,
to
I just wanted to make
January.
sure that
Mhm.
they were okay with the location of that outlet. I think it's, one of the basins had the water going out onto that property, and it just, just as a courtesy, so we're clear that they're okay with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, they were okay. They actually, one of the requirements of the special permit was to bring the plans back so they can sign them, and they were signed yesterday.
Okay, good. Do you have any additional questions? Yes, Dave?
About the covert, because I know we were talking about getting a covert added on the Warren side because of that one that's there is being overwhelmed with just a little bit of rain. Were you guys able to get with the highway department
Yeah, we really
and work
did.
something out in the engineers? Because that links two wetlands together. So that's gonna be going in the road, taken from one wetland and put into the next one. I don't know if you guys,
Well,
this
we'll have
falls
to be
into
involved in that
jurisdiction.
permit.
Yeah, I don't know if Tom from the DPW already contacted you.
We had a conversation,
Yeah.
but we'll need an application
Exactly.
to replace the culvert.
Mhm.
And it will, depending on how it's done.
Yeah, no, exactly. The way that we spoke with Tom, that was gonna be a separate project. Actually, Tom was gonna be the one doing it, not us. What we provided with the planning board is that Tom was gonna, he already did, he already told us what he thinks he's gonna be doing. Nick is gonna create a design, and for contractor will also be doing the work.
Sure.
So we will be the town doing the project, but we will be doing the, so we're still working with Tom on the final thing, but
So right now how big is the culvert?
I believe it is an 8-inch to start and then turns into, from what Tom said, a 10-inch somewhere under the roadway.
Oh my gosh. And so it goes under the roadways.
It's in the right of way, correct. And it eventually discharges onto lot 4 in one of those old foundations.
Yeah?
So it discharges in that area, but it begins in the right of way in a wetland as delineated for this project.
So it starts
goes
on
from-
site 3, it goes from 3 to
No,
4.
it starts in the right of way. The wetland's in the right of way.
Yes,
I
right.
can show you.
Oh, so it's like a swale at the side of the road.
Yeah, it's a swale that it has eventually turned into
Yeah.
a wetland.
Oh, right, because there were wetlands that go along,
correct.
right,
So yeah,
sure.
this is the road,
Mhm.
this is the wetland right here, and here's the pipe. And then, this is the roadway right here, and then the pipe discharges just onto the property right here.
Okay.
So we told, the way we described it to planning board was, we have, Seaboard here, or the applicant has no issue providing funds for that project to replace the culvert,
Yeah,
but it would be the town that needs to be the applicant because the work's in the right of way. And, it's something we can apply for on behalf of the town.
sure.
We said we work with the town, pay for the upgrade and, provide design of the pipe if that's what's requested. But, that'd be left up to DPW and what they feel is best for that area. And obviously they have to work with this board because there'd be disturbance within a wetland, two wetlands most likely with
Anytime,
regards to
yeah.
that project. And we provide an easement, drainage easement for the discharge of that pipe, however it's designed.
So, currently it's already going onto that property in the foundation, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. All right. And you have concerns?
About just being adequate to, handle the amount of water. It's gonna be the same amount of water, it's just gonna get there more rapidly, so that it can get it onto the road and not wash out the road, wash the road into the wetland area
Sure.
on site 4.
Because it's currently really undersized.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's barely handling it.
And for 8 inches, if it's 8 inches, that's pretty small.
Yeah, which is why the wetland developed, to be honest. There's a wetland there. It was probably a low point, a pipe was put in, and, there was,
Oh, the wetland
and
on lot 3.
that low point has been
Yeah.
ponding water for an extended period of time, turned into a wetland, which was, showed wetland characteristics that was delineated by the wetland scientist, probably for those reasons, water sitting there for a long period of time,
Right.
and, but So like I said, it will need permits to be applied for
It's a separate project.
by the town to this board. So we didn't want to tie, well, we can't legally tie that to what we're doing because of the nature of the
This is
disturbance
road
that would be
work, yeah.
required, yeah.
Okay, all right,
I have a question.
sure.
Is the Conservation Commission aware of the changes to Site 4 as far as they're not using wood chips underneath the panels?
That's great.
And that is being changed to meadow?
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a mix that is approved by the town engineer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So you
we're
have
I
been
did.
made aware of that?
yeah, I, actually,
Okay.
yeah, just the other day.
Okay.
And I think that's great.
Now, is that all the sites or just site 4?
No, it's side 3 and 4.
It would
Should
be
be both-
3
well,
and 4,
3 and
yeah,
4,
as
right.
part of the special
Yeah, I
permit.
just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify that that is actually gonna happen.
Well, it, you know, from the long-term perspective, I like it better. I mean, I know that Richard keeps on saying that the wood chips are great for, you know, stopping erosion when there's, you know, the project's going on, but for the long term, the meadow is,
It's just tough to get the meadow to grow.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like we
Right.
probably,
I mean, Otto would know
right, oh, because it's a steep
Mhm.
that.
slope.
Well, it's
It's
crappy
just
soil,
soil.
Oh, it's the soil.
Soil, no sun.
you know, so.
Well, I
Soil,
mean,
sun,
something's
yeah.
gotta grow there.
Yeah, but not meadow. and that's
Yeah.
the-
Something will grow.
Something will grow, but it won't
Yeah.
be meadow, and if it's designed, if it's, the stormwater is designed for meadow, and you don't get meadow, then the stormwater numbers don't work.
So we're
Right.
what we proposed to the planning board, it's a seed mix, it's made, designed for solar fields. So it's designed to grow in those types of conditions. It's an earnest type
With
of
this, it
seed.
has the same characteristics as meadow.
It would, yes,
Pretty much.
once fully grown, it would have those same characteristics.
yeah, we already sent it.
And we sent it to Graves Engineering and to the planning board, and they'll have the final say on the final mix if they'd like to
Right,
tweak it
sure.
or recommend something else, but it's a well-known.
And it grows
product.
on, you know, the type of soils that are on that hill.
He's supposed to.
Rock.
Rock.
Anywhere where it's bad, obviously,
Sand.
we'll be placing some loam down
Right.
to supplement that.
Now, wait a minute, you told me you weren't doing any grading.
No, major grading. But if we have, if the area needs loam, they're gonna come in there and hydro seed it. You know, they're not gonna go out there with a bag and throw seed around, but
Right.
it'll be hydro seeded, so it should take quicker than traditional seeding, but
Right.
we're gonna need to babysit it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just how these are, after a large rain event, I'll probably have them put temporary berms, just soil berms, just, like almost like little check dams in that area, just temporarily, in case you do get a rainstorm, it will slow the water down, washing a bunch of seed out,
I know, right?
small little soil berms, but
And this is a
those are all
seed
things
mix.
that will,
This is a seed mix that works with very little sun, because obviously the
Correct, yeah.
panels are over it, and it's good for heavy
Yeah.
shade.
Yeah, it's a hydro similar for solar system.
Does it have clover in it?
I believe there is some clover, yes, as the Graves Engineering
I get
said.
bees.
They
so-
prefer,
yeah,
Be
they
great
like-
for
they
Well,
wanted to see a mix that had
That's
some
right.
clover
bees.
in
Don't
it.
mess with my bees.
So,
Graves
you know, it's-
Engineering did say that the clover tends
Clover
to-
does help, yeah.
That's
It
right.
works better, so.
There were, we had seen a presentation at a training event at that MACC, Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissioners, and one of the presenters was talking about meadow actually succeeding quite well under the panels. It depends on the seed mix, but if you choose plants that like the shade, they'll grow in the shade. But if you're trying to grow in this, but the problem is it's shade, sun, shade, sun, shade, sun, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Right.
Get
But,
whatever you can to grow under there, right?
right, exactly. But the meadow is good because it has different types of roots, there's tap roots, there's shallow roots, there's medium roots, and so it does better holding and stabilizing.
Mhm. And that's the
We'll
point of the
agree with
mix
that.
there, yeah.
Exactly. All right,
But I mean, we'll need sufficient growth before we can apply for what's called a certificate of compliance from this board, so,
Right.
for the site. So just so you know, like, we're issued, say we are issued a permit tonight for the
Yeah.
conditions, and then at the end, we have to certify the site's been built in accordance with the plan, And part of that is that stabilization has occurred and that the seed has taken hold, at least 75%, before the town can officially release these guys of the responsibilities
One full growing season.
of the permit. So it won't be for a couple of years, by the time the site's built and we have one full growing season, then we'll, submit an as-built plan which shows the location of all the panels, the detention basins, where they were built, how they were built. So all that has to occur after the permit's in hand, after the site gets built, and then these guys sign off on the final permit to release these guys from their conditions of the permit. Just so there's like a little checks and balances associated with this part of it.
Cool. That might be easy enough.
Okay.
I'm
Any
good.
questions? Nope, all right. Well, I would like a motion to close the public hearing for Cutler Road.
Motion to close the hearing on Cutler Road.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next thing that we have to do is, do you have any comments? I put together a list of special conditions that we can go over. And if you can, and then we will and then we can vote on whether we approve or disapprove. But if you want, is there any reason that you cannot vote right now? Do you have enough information? Do you want to think about it?
I'm involved.
Okay? Yep, okay. I make a motion to, do you want to talk about the special conditions first?
Don't you usually do that after?
We usually do that after.
I would think you would do those after. I don't know, that's what we usually do.
I'd like a motion to issue a permit for Cutler Road Solar Project Lot 4.
Motion to issue permit for Cutler Road, Lot 4.
Second.
You vote yes or no? Yep. Okay. It's a vote. Now it's time for us to write your special conditions. And they're pretty extensive usually when we issue conditions for solar projects. Some of the things that we do, because we're always concerned about basins, is that we would like somebody to be there when it's excavated, so we can just verify that there's no weeping higher than anticipated, and that we've been doing that on all of the solar projects. And we also, I don't know what planning's gonna do, but we usually have an erosion control specialist be on site at least once a week to make sure that the site is stable throughout the life of the project, and that is something that the applicant pays for. Yes?
Do you want reports, because we'll be doing weekly SWIP reports that go along with
SWIP reports are
stormwater
always
pollution
great.
prevention plan?
Yes.
So, okay,
SWIP
we can
reports.
copy
Yeah, we
the commission on those, that's preferred.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, SWIP reports. And then the basin, one of the things that I know we probably talked about at one point, but it's been, there's so many projects, I'm overlapping them, is the idea of when you have the basin and you construct it, we want to make sure that the outlet is covered during construction. So nothing leaves, right? Because then you're going to be putting sediment into the buffer zone. So that needs to stay completely covered during construction. And then once the site is stabilized and you empty out the basin, you can, dig out all the sediment and fix it, okay? So, I mean, there's just things like that, that we just want to make sure that are in the orders, that it happens. When your site guy reads it, he's like, all right, this is where we're at.
When I do construction plans, I'll put all the conditions on the plan sheets,
Oh, yeah,
because,
the plan sheets are great, yeah.
because people don't read them, so.
Exactly.
That's why I end up
Well, I
doing-
know, I mean, nobody wants to read 17 documents, they just
Yeah.
want everything in one spot. So, yeah, that would be
most-
great,
most site
Nick,
guys,
thank you.
They don't
Yeah, no,
drag
we-
a
yeah, we
big
put
book
them
of
in.
permits out there. Unfortunately, they don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to.
Yeah, but
well,
they have it-
the book's
yeah,
there, yeah, but are they looking at it is the question. So,
Right,
I'm
well,
trying-
I mean, it should be there, but whether they look at it is another question. That's true, totally, entirely true. Okay. I think that we're good. I mean, we're just gonna, I mean, you can sit here and,
That's up, yeah,
that's-
we,
we can wait on it.
I'll leave, yeah. We have no input, so, I mean, hearing's closed, you can't take anything from us
right,
anyway,
there's,
so.
right, exactly. I mean, you'll see them
I
eventually.
mean, do you want us to stay? Is there any clarification points?
No, there can't be any clarification points. We are good.
Okay, understood.
When can we get the sign?
Well, we are going to work on the special conditions, and we have 21 days to issue it. I'm sure it will happen before that. So depending on Corinne's workload, she may be able to get them out next week, minimally the week after.
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah? Is that, that's reasonable, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Can there please be correspondence to planning?
They'll
Tomorrow?
receive a copy of the
Yeah.
conditions.
Not even the condition, just to say that the hearing's been closed,
Yeah, because they,
because there's a
They want-
meeting on the
yeah, our
22nd.
meeting is on the, our hearing is on the 22nd, and depending on what was gonna happen on this meeting, they wanted to see if they were gonna put a lot for, on there.
Lot 4,
So
yeah.
I mean, I can send an email to Kathy and copy you on just to confirm that the hearing is closed and they vote on it.
Oh, on the 22nd, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if that's okay.
So we'll
Yeah,
make
no,
sure they have
that's
enough
fine,
time to
yeah.
notice,
Okay.
put the notice in and get it on the agenda,
Mm-hmm.
make sure it's properly notified.
Do you think you're ready to close that planning?
I don't know if we're gonna be able to.
We
close
might not
next
close,
year.
but we'd like to move forward with it. We're
With
we're
the
looking to
forward.
close lot 3 at the next meeting,
Oh, the bigger lot.
the bigger
Yeah.
lot.
Okay.
So as long as nothing, and to be honest, we've kind of been hitting on all the same topics the entire process, because even though we were hearing lot 3, there were still
I don't see
general
that.
questions that came up on lot 4, so
Sure.
I mean, I think we've pretty much addressed everything. You know, anything we did for lot 3, we
Wasn't
made
it?
sure to do for lot 4, so, you
Right,
know,
yeah, right.
satisfy fire department comments, satisfy Graves comments, so we don't believe there's much outstanding.
You have, oh, yeah, okay, that's right. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? Save yourself some time.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yes, if it's okay, I will just send the email tomorrow confirming that. If, I will send an email to planning board tomorrow, and I can copy you on just to make the case, like, hey, you know, we got our approval from lot 4, if we can put it on the agenda.
Yeah, sure, yeah, and yeah, I can reply and
Awesome.
let Kathy know too.
Perfect.
All right,
All
well,
right,
thank you
you.
very much.
I'll be in all day tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
right.
on
Kathy
hours-
won't be in tomorrow,
On
that's
her
right.
hours, she may not be in, and she's on vacation too.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes.
She's around, but they'll get it. She'll be checking her mail anyway.
Okay, do you have a good one?
Thanks, Nathan.
We talked on the 22nd.
Yeah.
Planning board.
Right, exactly,
Well, thank you very much for
exactly.
everything.
Thank you for hearing our concerns.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
coming. I mean, right, yes, we understand why you're here, but, you know, our jurisdiction is that little strip on the
Completely
project.
understand.
So, yeah, good luck.
Appreciate it.
Well, we're happy there's not a bunch of wood chips out there right now.
Yes, right?
And Nick, we're holding you to that.
It's in the permit, we do what's in the permit, that's it.
I'm just gonna run outside and talk to them, I'll be right back.
Okay.
As you're continuing the meeting.
Can we throw rubber bands at that?
Sure.
With paper clips attached?
I'll be right back.
Did planning board nix the wood chip idea totally? I think
Yes.
that- They just said no,
Yeah, they said no. They said no.
and we can't do that though.
It's not our jurisdiction,
A planning board can.
it's their jurisdiction.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, because we could say no, wood chips in the buffer zone or anything that's our jurisdiction.
Okay.
But ultimately, if there's, you know, the whole upland site has wood chips, I'm not really sure how
Okay.
useful that would be. Yeah, so ultimately, planning
So how
board does
about
it.
over by Tuttle's Orchard? They were gonna cover that in wood chips, did they mix that one?
Oh, no, they were gonna do,
Oh,
Well, they were.
that's where we're putting the trenches in.
And the straw berms, they got a wood chip berm supposedly 3
Wood chip
feet high
berms,
by
that's
2
what they were
Right.
putting up,
You know,
wood
it's
chip.
they,
Okay.
There's, we had that construction meeting, and they're concerned about how they're gonna construct it. And keep it clean, keep those trenches clean, and not be,
That's nothing compared to Coy Hill.
oh, I.
no, but there's that little
There's
section.
that one little section.
Well,
But it's long and
It's
it's
long,
steep.
well, you can't turn on it,
20
that's the
it's-
problem, you know what I mean? Because you start
Right.
turning, you're gonna be tearing the trenches all
And the
up.
panels are all going down with the, so it has its issues.
You're gonna have
They
a
have
hard
their
time.
concerns, but he had his concerns, but
They'll
it's
get
his
it.
job,
They're
he'll
gonna-
figure it
They're
out.
gonna figure it out, but they can't, they get any dirt in there, they gotta take it all out with panels in place, how they can't do it.
Right.
So
Right.
it's imperative that they
yeah,
figure out how to cover it.
they do definitely have to figure it out. They will, right?
Yeah.
Creativity,
As long as you got money, you can do anything.
Enough money,
enough money, and hopefully somebody with some brains.
you build it.
That's one of our favorite things.
Okay.
You've got enough money, you can do it.
Sure, right?
Treehouse can do it.
Of course.
A special equipment treehouse roof.
Yeah,
If you need a price you can't afford me.
They're expanding again.
they're shipping a bunch of, I talked to Chris up at Robinson, they ship thousands and thousands of feet of 2-inch tongue roof. Plank for the, and a bunch of live edge spruce beams.
Well,
addition.
Oh, really?
You've
For
been
their
up to
addition?
see their building outside, haven't you?
Yeah, well, Pete, the guy that works for us, you know Pete,
Yeah?
he built some of them outside bars for him and stuff.
Well,
It's a
that's
good-
nothing
it's a good
compared to
spot.
that pavilion they put up.
Well, that.
I know
in
that
pavilion,
pavilion
those
is-
outside bars that are in the pavilion.
Oh, I don't even been there since they put those in.
Yeah, and
Well, it all came from the mill.
even the inside is really.
Oh, from your
good,
mill?
too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I checked the bee's knees.
You have to get up, you should get up there and look at that pavilion. That thing is just,
I don't know, I think we should.
all from California.
There.
They shipped it
Yeah,
in.
we should,
Yeah, they shipped it in from
that's definitely a
California.
paid place.
Company
They,
designed it out in California, made all the pieces there, sent them out here, then had the carpenter, I can't remember, they told me who put it up.
yeah, when they did a traffic study there,
Oh,
they told the town of Charlton to take 300 cars a day.
What?
So-
300 cars, they have 300 cars a minute, I mean,
So
their
they-
parking lot.
Zuzu's on the Explorers over there, so the Explorers set up and they did an actual count because of those accidents they're having. 3,000 a day.
that's what's
They
going in
dropped
and
the
out of
zero.
there?
Yeah, Mr. Zero, huh?
That's what's going in and out of there,
3,000.
their driveway?
3,000 a day.
There's a requirement for a traffic light there.
Well, that's why,
Expansion.
that's why the Charlton's going back to the state saying, you gotta do something, because that highway study was 300, and this is 3,000 on Route 20, this is,
It's only going to get worse.
you're gonna have to.
Right,
you
I
the-
know, right?
The
They're
state's gonna have to
expanding.
fix it.
Wow.
So I don't know how they're gonna, they got to make a
You don't think
off-ramp.
so?
I don't think so. People stand in line for hours. So I think whoever's coming is already coming.
I don't know.
Well, they have the upper and lower parking lot, and then, you know, that little
Well, they've
shuttle
got
bus
3
that goes
parking
up.
lots now.
Ooh.
They've got their regular parking lot, and
Yeah.
they have an upper
Oh, I didn't know
section
they
that
had
they've
an upper
recently
one.
built, and then they've got that gravel one down by Route 20.
Just saying.
I've only
you were
seen the
there
one
at
that was
beginning.
by the
I was there,
pavilion.
right there
You
in
know,
his
just the one on
garage.
the
Yeah,
same
garage.
level. But
Send
there's
the
one
hots.
that's
My
higher
son,
up.
They
yeah,
built
we
a
know
higher
the
one
owner.
now.
Ooh.
He doesn't
It's
drink
not
beer
much
anymore.
higher.
He doesn't?
It's a
Nope,
Yeah.
it's a new-
he doesn't drink beer.
Mostly-
Yeah, the owner, the guy that started it all.
Well, and then you can probably
Doesn't
walk
drink
from
beer.
that. I mean, you
How's
can
it
walk
going?
from
It's
the
any
other
good?
one, but it's,
Yes.
you know, if you're going up the road, it's a little,
Dean
They're
drinks
going up
beer.
the road, it's long.
it's a long hike, but
That's
if it's
good.
the other one, you can just, you know, they can put in
Dean
some
drinks,
stairs. I
no,
mean, I'm sure
the
they do
funniest,
some nice
funny thing,
landscaping.
Scott came home
Well,
from the gym,
follow the
says,
road pretty much.
Yeah, oh, really?
They got some good beer. Started in his
do.
garage.
You know, if you go to, and we should do this, Workshop 13 on open mic night, which is the 3rd Friday of every month, and where? They have a great open mic most of the time.
Wait a minute, people actually get up and sing?
Oh, gosh.
It's a church, that old church, right?
It's the old church at
Oh, okay,
Garden
yeah,
Twin
yeah, I
Arts
know what you
Center.
mean now.
So one of the Treehouse's co-founders' dads opened up Workshop 13.
Oh.
So on open mic night, when you're hanging out listening to good and bad music, you can get, you know, a Julius or some other, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's the only other place you can get
They serve
treehouse
there,
beer.
huh?
Because it's all in the family. It's awesome.
So it's only one Friday a month, huh?
One Friday a month.
Oh.
It's good though. It's most of the time it's good music. Every once in a while there's like, ooh, woo.
You should have expanded your hops business.
There you go.
to
Oh, were
stay
you
with-
growing
Yeah, didn't you
hops?
grow
They
up?
still got hops.
Really?
But you sold them to them when they started, right?
I
Or
gave
them to them?
Gave them to them.
That's how, yeah.
They made a special brew, a local brew out of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That
And that's
is
back in the
excellent.
day when they were doing 5-gallon pails on it all. 10-gallon pails.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Right.
I think,
That's a swill bucket, the 5-gallon pail.
yeah, it was pretty good. They did a good job with them.
Wow.
But,
I always feel bad, people have offered it to me, I'm like, I can't take it, I know what you went through to get that beer, I can't.
It's
But
not
it's
that
not-
bad.
Well-
It's good, I finally had one, it was pretty
No,
good.
to get it, it's not that bad.
It was in the old
Yeah.
place.
Oh,
in
the old
in the
ones,
old
yeah, all right.
days.
And it's still, you know, apparently, I just ran into somebody last night. He said, yeah, you know, if you go on a weekend, I mean, you're waiting in line a lot, but if you go a weeknight,
If you
Rich
go-
and I went on a Tuesday night in the summer last year, or maybe like late summer, early fall. It wasn't a long line.
Not anymore.
We bought a
They
case
got
of
it-
beer and then we, you know, got a couple of tap beers and,
I mean, now it is nothing like it used to be. No,
yeah.
Well,
nothing.
they do still get pretty long lines,
Well,
but they've
on the
got their,
weekends,
they've
on the
got their
weekends.
system down
Right.
pat, so.
It is.
And you're not even waiting outside anymore. With the new expansion, you're inside the whole
Right.
time. I went out the other day when it was raining.
Right.
And it was nice, because you're inside the whole time.
Oh,
I
really?
usually go like once a month.
Wow, good for you. I'm going to your house.
I've got some if you want. Stop by.
It's like, Phillip, you got a beer?
Yeah.
All right, let's do the special conditions, or just look them over. I have to change all of the stuff on the top, but I took it from, obviously I took it from Coy Hill. But we should probably be doing this for all of, I'll fill that in, Corinne, okay, with the right information. Project description, so the whole first page, everything's two-sided. So starting with project on page 2, specific conditions notes. The illicit discharge statement, which I think is appropriate for this site, that we took from both Coy Hill, and we can thank Dave for that.
Yeah.
Pre-construction meeting, I don't know that we necessarily need to be at that on this, but it could be interesting to meet somebody. I mean, whatever, I can take it out if you guys don't care, or leave it in, what do you think?
Leave it in. If you
Okay.
don't wanna go, you don't have to go.
Or you just change it from shall to may.
Yeah, sure, I mean, they'll have to call us, and then we can say, go ahead without us.
Yeah.
2 weeks before basin construction, because we're gonna have to make sure that Tim or somebody's there
Yeah.
to look at it. And number 4 was taken straight from ZPTs, having a geologist or soil scientist to be there to review, to watch them dig a hole or after. And then we can modify the basins if there's a problem, or, you know, require that it be modified. No outlets like I asked for. That they're capped, there's a little redundancy, but they're both there. A licensed erosion control specialist hired by the commission, paid for by Beam and Cutler.
Can we do that?
We did that,
I know, we didn't do it on,
we did it for Cronin, we did it for
we didn't do
ZPT.
it for Corona.
I thought we did.
Yeah, we did.
I thought it was his idea that we do it.
Didn't planning board do it in their orders?
No, we did it. That's why the guy was there at
Oh,
the
yeah,
meeting with
okay,
us.
all right, yeah, okay, all right, all right. All right, then, we can do it.
Yeah, no. What do you think, Natalie?
Bad.
We were just
Time
at
for
that
me to
meeting the
retire,
other
I
day.
can't keep this straight anymore.
Licensed erosion control specialist, keeps abreast, all of this was taken. And then I left a little bit from Cronin Road on here, about the buffer zone should be planted with New England wetland meadow mix or something similar if soil is exposed. And if it's not exposed, they should probably plant some bushes and shrubs.
So,
85% stabilized. Areas within buffer shall be 85% stabilized. Detention basin, end of construction is remove the sediment and make sure it can infiltrate, because he did say that there was a little infiltration on the basin, right?
is that basin?
Well, basins, I know one is in jurisdiction, but I'm gonna, have planning, I'm gonna give this to planning and maybe they'll consider putting this in.
Just give it to Kathy.
Right. Exactly, and just say this first section,
Okay, because the rest of the basins are out of our jurisdictions.
right, exactly, but they should definitely do,
They should, but.
They should do a lot of the
should we
stuff.
Change that to just basin.
and detention basin, yeah, sure, okay, cause we only have one in jurisdiction.
That's one on 12.
Yeah, that's okay, you know what, I have this at home, so I'll
Mhm.
just do it up. Because they're gonna have that, swale, is it grass lined? But they're gonna have check dams in it, that thing's gonna get all full of sediment.
Yeah.
Alright. We only can say 1 year after the project too, yeah, right, one full,
Well, we can't even ask for that.
you
without
could say,
permission.
shall be given entry to the site for 1 year after project
With
completion.
permission. Shall be given with permission.
Yeah. Will this, yeah. Do we wanna do no groundbreaking excavation November through March, like we did?
I think December.
Okay,
We went, no, we went April 15th with the bylaw, December to April 15th. That's the state regs. And Bob Bodger said that's what DOT uses.
December through April. So December 1st,
Yeah,
okay?
April 1st.
April 1st or April 15th?
I guess they're the 15th, but I mean, that's Mass Highway, but.
Okay.
But that's only that one basin, right? We don't have control over the whole site.
Well, also, it's all of the work in the buffer that they're doing.
Yeah, okay, but, yeah, they can work.
And the planning
Planning
can
to
do whatever they want.
Right,
All right, in buffer
yeah.
jurisdiction. Okay. Number 16 really should be planning.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it. Oh, okay, so the rest of it is standard stuff. Read through it, if there's anything that needs to come out.
Should we change our, I don't necessarily mean for this, but, I mean, everybody uses hay bales, but, you know, talking to the erosion guy the other day, I agree with him 100% that hay bales just make big dams. You know, we'd be better off using filter socks or something like that, let the water go through and at least clean the water out.
Sediment barrier shall consist of erosion control socks.
Well, filter socks.
Aren't they full of straw anyways? Those.
No, the filter socks have different stuff inside, they have strands and they have different types of things, so that they'll let the water go through, but it'll collect the.
Oh, okay.
You know, when you just put hay bales, that's the biggest problem, you create these big dams of water ponds behind them, and then gets to be a mess behind them, and.
I
Well,
thought
do we-
those long tubes aren't full of straw then, huh?
Well, they make lots of different kinds.
Oh,
Some are straw,
Okay.
straw wattles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that all the animals love.
Oh, right, they
I got pictures eating lunch, watching squirrels.
nest.
They eat it.
Oh,
They're in there, there's holes, I mean, the
Oh,
Dinner.
they like the cloth?
straw.
Oh, the straw that's inside.
Yeah,
So-
they eat through the net and they just start making holes, they burrow in there, they make houses.
what about the perimeter? Silt fence?
Well, I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't think on this project we should talk, but someone we probably could talk to the erosion control guy. I mean, I think he was right about that. when he was
Sure.
talking about that. And you can make all different sizes, like they make the big soil logs if you had to.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, the straw, I mean, the ground wood strands is excellent. Like what Dave wants to do is excellent if he had the materials to do it.
right.
Nothing's getting through. It's gonna stop the water. I mean, the water will go through the wood strands, but no sediment will.
But when the project is over, they need to get rid of the sediment. It's gonna be all in those strands, so that
Well,
we
they
say,
can get rid of the strands, then they can
Just
take
get rid of them.
they have to get rid of them because,
Yeah, well,
what
they-
Dave wanted to do is he wants to take those strands and at the end disperse them.
Well, there'll be nothing to disperse. It's gonna be all dirt, silt.
It's,
You're
right,
gonna be doing
exactly.
those strands, you're gonna have to all out. No matter what you do, even if you put in soil logs, you're gonna have a ton of silt behind them.
Yeah, right, no, exactly.
Just like what we looked at today,
Oh my God, right, yeah.
with the silt fence up at
I mean,
Copart.
yeah, that was holding up a lot, yeah.
I don't know why they didn't get in there and take that out. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of
I know.
silt behind there.
I know, there's a lot.
Where they had that violation,
Mhm.
they've got 3 rows of temporary silt fence in there. And still quite a bit of silt coming through there.
There's a lot,
I was shocked. There was
There's a
that
lot.
much.
Chad had said he was gonna go back in the spring. So.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna go back.
Yeah.
They're gonna put a couple of check dams and a plunge pool. And then, once they have that in, they're gonna have Chad come out with another bucket brigade and,
Yeah, this isn't what Chad did. I mean, Chad knew there was a little bit of cleanup left to do what he did, but this is up where it started. It's still quite a bit more silt coming out. I mean, quite a bit. It's probably 6-7 yards.
Where is that exactly? Is
So
that the
it's-
stream coming down to Old Warren Road, or is that up at Highland Street?
it ends up going to, what's that street that woman lives on? It's behind Copart, there's,
It's a dead end, it is a dead end.
it
but
dead ends
you can
or
see
it
the driveway.
goes
Yeah.
up and then it goes over and then it comes back down
It's Highland.
Highland.
Yeah.
So she lives right on the corner behind Copart and they put in a
She lives next to
a little pond. The pond is actually attached to a little stream that comes down from Copart, but it ends up starting really to the west of Copart, and then it comes along the property.
Yeah.
So she created a plunge pool by adding, but they have this illegal pond, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not supposed to be there, so it's collecting, the stream goes through it, it keeps it filled up, and then it kind of scoots out and continues on its journey somewhere, and,
Well, it goes down to Old Warren,
Yeah.
Warren Road, I think is what it is.
okay, sure,
I
sure.
see that stream, I just didn't know if that was the one that continued on.
Well, I don't know if it's
I'm
that
not
street.
sure
That
if it
street is
is.
by Joe's house, you mean, right? The one that comes out across by Joe's house?
It's, if you're looking at the driveway up to Copart,
On the left.
it's to the left of the driveway.
It's not that stream.
Not that stream? Okay, cause that's a good sized stream.
I don't know
Where's
I don't know where that one starts.
Is that Joe Fiedel's house?
That's Joe's, well, yeah, Joe was living there next to
I didn't
there.
realize that was Joe.
And
Yeah, I don't know.
that's not the same brook.
No, because
The brook is, her
goes-
house is behind there. The next street down, that's Highland, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you go up Highland, she's on the corner. When Highland goes up and takes a left, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
She's the house that
Take that.
you would drive into straight if you didn't take the left.
Okay.
So it's in the back of her house and it heads west behind her property
So it kinda goes down toward Dean Park.
towards Dean Park.
Okay.
sure, right, it goes down to Dean Park.
It's that stream,
then
I think, that
west.
goes around the back of Dean Park, probably.
It
Mhm.
could. I'm sort
I
of
don't know, there's
lost.
so many streams in there, but
Yeah, there's a lot of little
There's
streams.
a lot of water, I bought a house up there recently, and there's a lot of water.
Yeah, there is a lot of water up there.
Pleasant Street, 26 Pleasant.
Oh, yeah?
There's a solar project that somebody wants to put in. Oh, too bad.
Not up there.
Yeah.
26 Pleasant Street?
Well, I don't know about
I think it's
26,
further
but at the
down.
Further
end
down
of
Pleasant, I
Pleasant
think it's where
Street.
the old KOA was. Is that where the
Well,
old
it's just
KOA
kind of
is?
on the other side of Copart.
Well, yeah, but doesn't Pleasant Street go down to the KOA?
No, it's Pleasant Street's only like a half mile long.
What street was the KOA on?
North, wasn't it?
North Street.
North
Was that North
Street.
Street?
Next one
Yeah,
down.
North Street, right?
Yeah, there's a
Right at the
Pleasant Street
light, going out through there somewhere, out and back.
somewhere,
Well,
somebody.
it was Pleasant Street, and that end of Pleasant Street.
So that ends at somebody's driveway.
Yeah, well, that driveway must be the property.
Well, it's like a
Yeah,
house.
because it's like Copart is right here, and then on the other side of Copart is where they want to put the solar farm, and then there's Dean Park. You know, that's kind of rough. There's obviously houses in between, but North Street, yeah.
I remember hearing something about it. It was somebody just sent a letter or something.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
sent a
they sent us a
letter,
letter.
they came here, it was completely devoid of any information
Right.
whatsoever, but they just said, this is where we want to put it. And then they never really sent an application, but they have been calling diligently every other week to see if the moratorium's off. And
Is this people from Connecticut?
I think so.
I think.
Do you know them?
I think that's landlocked, that piece of property.
It could be. I never really
think-
looked that
I think
closely.
if that's a piece of property that you're talking about, if you look at the map, it's landlocked.
It's,
probably
you know,
is.
that phone call you took last week, and
You
then I
can't-
called them
Can
back.
you put a solar farm on landlocked property?
No.
No, no.
Absolutely.
it's
When to file.
What's
Oh,
that?
I have it right here.
I think that what you're talking about, they bought that, they tried to sell it to Copart. Copart says we're not interested in that, it's steep, it's
He asked
it's awful.
if they were. This is it. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Whoever they bought it from, the guy was happy as could be that somebody would actually
Tell?
pay him money for it. Why?
I'm pretty sure that this is
From
Pleasant
what I
Street.
understand,
Okay.
put the money in
Street
the.
down here.
Oh, okay, so it's North
They
Street.
turned around,
my
they tried to
bad.
sell it to Copart, Copart says,
Depends
no.
on how far up North
It's
Street.
awful.
North
We don't want
North
that
Street
land.
goes a
Yeah,
couple of miles.
Well,
So
here's Dean
now,
Park.
that makes perfect
Dean Park?
sense.
Yeah,
So now
right,
that's
baseball
solar.
Oh,
field.
yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, my house is kind of.
You were right about,
Interesting.
the one in
Oh, it's-
in Rogers.
Which one now?
Solar
Just
field
get
and
all the
field on Route
runoff.
9.
Oh, going up, you mean the
Is
old,
it- Did you,
Roger,
oh, never mind. I was gonna ask you, are you
Yeah.
living there?
Route-
as well as my own, right across from the clay bar.
Renting it?
I will eventually.
oh, that they
Oh.
can't, they,
It's not tied in.
right, they
It's
can't
rough.
find a buyer.
Oh, is it
or
really?
something.
No, they can't tie in because they don't have to.
42,000.
The
What?
grid's
42.
frozen.
Holy crap.
Oh, they've frozen the grid
Woohoo.
totally now, that they aren't
It's a good
taking
thing you're
anybody
handy.
at all?
That's the point.
Right, wow,
For 2 years.
that is awesome.
Finally finished mine.
So
I was
those
like,
panels
oh,
aren't working
Might as well
yet?
jump in now.
Panel's working, it's not going anywhere.
I know, you're young and
Really?
energetic.
Yeah, well, that's what Don
People
Fagno.
And your
Brookfield
wife
told me
says-
at the
Yeah.
time, he's the one that told me
Yeah.
that they can't
Because
do
where we
anything.
live now is-
Can't do anything, no, there's
so
no-
she's happy at the
no-
prospect.
ISO
We
shut
built our own
everything down.
single-family house.
Because the
Yeah.
lines
We
are
have a
such,
nice place where we live
they
now.
have to be
but it's
upgraded
not
before they can get all this power on these
Private,
lines.
it's not our own, we still share.
It's
a lot
not even
with
national
somebody
grid
else,
this
so
size, so.
We got the kids running around, we're always out here.
And the one up in
Neighbors.
ISO in
Yeah.
northern Mass,
So,
like Fitchburg,
there's a
which
nice
is up
yard
in
in the
there,
back.
90
Yeah.
million to
Acre
upgrade
yard,
the power,
so it's not huge,
upgrade the
but it's
lines
something.
Yeah.
Whereas
90
where we
million?
90
No
million
yard right now.
Exactly.
to handle the solar.
And who's gonna pay for that?
And when
The
we
good
move
old
in, it'll all be
electric
brand new.
person,
You and I.
you, yeah, whoever uses electricity is
That's
gonna
really
pay
great.
for it.
Good for
It's
you.
Pittsburgh, it's Unitil,
Time
isn't it?
frame?
Pittsburgh is,
Unitil.
you
Uh,
know,
Yeah,
but it's
that's
not,
what they were
it's not
running.
Pittsburgh, but it's the, it's,
By midsummer.
Pittsburgh used to be
And we'll
Pittsburgh
move
Gas
in.
and Electric or
Wow.
whatever,
We'll
but
move
it's
in.
Right.
Nice.
That's
National
our plan, so
Grids.
I'll just finish all the.
All right.
around
Oh, they
there.
took over.
Trenton
Your
and-
house
but anything
during
Pittsburgh over, but
tree
wherever
house
that
year.
grid is part of that area.
End of
it's-
July.
I
Up
gotta
in
go
that
over this
area.
tree, so I
It's-
wanna build a
that's
tree house.
Nice.
I had one
Yeah, 'cause I
here in town, it was
heard
kind of
horror
infamous
stories
in town
about
when I was a kid.
Pittsburgh's area.
Ooh.
On School Street, they had
So,
selectmen's
So-
meetings about it.
so-
Oh, really?
If it's a 2-year,
Nice.
why are these solar
I'm gonna do
companies
something similar
still
to a small-
putting
on a
this
smaller
money
scale.
out, knowing that they can't sell their product to anybody for 2 years?
I don't know.
What are we talking about? We gotta, let's finish this.
Yes.
Yeah, we're distracted.
We're just so distractible. All right, page 5,
Too much
anything on
social,
there?
too much socializing here.
Oh, I know,
Not
I'm
enough
sorry, I'm
bus-
being-
Not enough business.
We gotta get this done so we can vote on it.
Oh, I thought we were done.
What page are we looking at?
Well, let's look at page 6.
Page 6.
Trench material deposited, upgraded.
Are you still going with straw? Because it
We're
says straw
gonna-
available.
Let's go with straw,
Okay.
Yeah, don't know, but I mean, something.
something for
down
us
the
to
road.
think about. All right, any comments?
What's with 51 and 52? Let's say duplicate.
Oh, because it's a duplicate.
So are they being left in there?
I'm gonna leave it in there, and one of the reasons is that one of them is it's gonna stay under permanent conditions, but I wanted it to make sense under, stormwater. So, I could take it out, but I just thought it made sense under stormwater, but I did want it to leave it as permanent as well. Anything else? Okay, so, can I have a motion to accept the special conditions
We'll go with motion to accept the special conditions
as
for-
modified?
As modified for Cutler Road site. For-
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Corinne,
Mm-hmm.
we need a signature page.
Yep.
How many acres will this be between both site 3 and 4? Can we combine the two? There isn't more, right? It's just the 2, 3 and 4.
You know, I'm not entirely sure because they bought a parcel that was 400 acres, or, you know what I mean? It was
Right.
just this enormous parcel, and I don't know what they whittled it down to because they're not using the whole, I'm not sure what it ended up being. He did say that this one was only, I mean, because it's only,
Small, 10
it's
acres,
a small,
20
maybe
acres, something
10,
like that.
15 most,
What's
because they
4 megawatts? It's 20 acres.
which was 4 megawatts?
This one?
No, that's CBT, old information.
No.
This one is like 1 megawatt, something
No.
like that?
Yeah, it's pretty small.
And then the other one's gonna be 4.
So it's both pages, both the regular and special?
Oh, excellent. There you go. Oh, forest cutting plan. Devil's Lane,
Mhm. Who's
Gagner?
Who?
Joseph Gagner,
He's the forester or the owner?
both. Jeffrey Gagner.
Jeffrey.
All right. He's showing a, oh, I see, this is a brook. That's the road,
This is way down.
the turnpike, it's on the other side.
They did a
Not on the
lot
other
already
side.
up there.
This is Forest Ave, Devil's Lane.
Right.
So this is Brimfield side. This
Oh,
is-
okay, all
This
right.
is Warren side. It's pretty,
No, that's the cart path.
that's the car path, yeah.
The other side they've already done.
Or this side's done. And like Starsiak was looking to find that, I walked on down to their farm.
Oh, really? Tim and I walked down there at one point. Okay. When is this dated?
You wanted to put a solar field in.
Oof. Okay. Is there a date on here, do you see a date? 4/15, proposed start date.
Next week.
Okay.
No wetlands in there?
Oh, yeah,
Well,
there's
that's
totally
wet.
wetlands.
It's all wet.
It's all, that's a wet piece of property.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
so,
So they're coming
In the
in
back.
from this, they're coming in from this direction.
here's their coming in right
Oh,
here.
the roads up here.
Oh, the road's on this side?
Yeah, so it's,
Right here.
Oh, okay, all right.
and then there's a stream, and then there's probably another something, what
This
is
is
that?
steep here.
Steep slope, stream, and the stream's going up a steep slope? It's
Yeah,
going down a
says-
steep slope,
Well, it
wetland.
must go down,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going down to the wetland there.
That must, what's in there for wood? Are
There
this, are
wasn't
they
much
just,
there when I was.
And
are
then
they
he's
just gonna
doing it-
clear it for a solar farm?
No, he's not,
What's
he's
it say there?
replanting. He's replanting.
Well, they're supposed to say that on the front,
Yeah.
Replanting hemlock, I don't ever remember seeing
Hemlock.
this before.
Hemlock.
White pine
Hemlock.
and walnut.
He's planting hemlock?
Right, it's just gonna go away.
Hemlock's dying.
Turf grass, ornamentals. Is he putting a house there? Why would you do
Yeah, and what
ornamentals?
did you say, walnut?
white and black birch, rock maple.
That'll grow.
Hemlock. Well, anybody planting hemlock?
All right, well,
To watch it die.
Well, there's no market for it.
Well, that's that white,
Oh.
whatever,
Hemlock woolly adoja.
yeah,
Well,
whatever.
the woolly adoja is killing them, but there's no market for the hemlock anyways. It's not a marketable wood, it's junk. We use it for beams, but
Yeah, I mean, for post and beam construction is good.
no,
No, not anymore?
pine's way better. Hemlock, you use it, but it's such a radial grain, it splits and checks and twists and curls and.
I always figured
It's
they,
stronger than pine a little bit, but it's just really hard wood. We use it a lot. That house in 20 we built, that was all hemlock. We milled everything there, and that's a posted beam barn there. It's all
yeah,
hemlock.
well, that's what I used to, I know the old barns I've worked on used to have a lot of hemlock in them.
We use it, but it's not as good as
Oh,
pine.
that's good, huh? I always thought it was quite a bit stronger.
It is stronger, but it twists and checks a lot. I mean, it splits.
well, that's
Yeah,
fabulous.
that's split.
It's not
It's,
gonna
yeah,
happen.
it's hard to work with. I mean, when it's green, it's okay, but when it's dry, it twists and curls.
Oh, that's because you waited too long.
Yeah, you gotta put it right up.
You gotta put it right
You
up.
gotta cut it.
Oh, you gotta sign this.
Cut it and put it right in,
And send both
don't
back to
wait.
Corinne.
But it's
Why don't I
not,
just have these to sign,
It's-
just the payroll
Oh,
fees
yeah.
to make sure.
Send
there is
that
no
over.
market. I mean, you go look on UMass's, they post all the timber prices
Yeah.
monthly, you know?
Yep.
And,
Well, if you go try to find some, that's,
hemlock,
yeah.
we get tons of it. You want some?
You have it up there?
We cut it all the time.
I'll have to remember that next time. I went to build a post and beam barn over Don Fagnall's, I gotta have hell of a time trying to find out.
Oh my
Really?
God. I
That
don't
was-
know why
that was-
everybody thinks hemlock's the best. I mean, someone else told me too. Like, crap, I wouldn't use it. I mean, we use it when we got it.
Yeah,
You know, like when we,
yeah.
like I said, that boat Brimfield, it was all hemlock, the whole lot. So we cut it and built that barn with it, and it's held up pretty good. But we'd rather use pine any day.
You got any outside boards?
All right, so
No, we used the beams.
the, oh, I was gonna do that, you know what? The plans for, the ANRAD for Bragg Road,
Yeah, that's.
as long as
these.
you tuck them together,
Okay,
you know what I mean? When you store it, make sure you tuck them together and, or maybe like take the ones that are the latest and write the
Right,
latest and
stand
cross
back.
out the ones that are old and write latest on the ones that are new
Okay,
and put them
all right.
together. Does that make sense?
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, let me see what we're done. This is the latest one.
Or which one?
Let me see.
So you
Yeah.
see a lot of work.
We just-
It's
We're
moving
good,
this-
we're good. It's a lot.
Ah, My daughter just
So
bought
I
a place
have-
in Lowell, a duplex.
Oh, yeah?
I think
Lowell?
next week I should be able to.
Lowell's come way,
Come in
way
and-
up.
Yes, it
Go
has,
through the-
and, it's so
Make
bad,
sure
it's
that
got
you
the little
have-
roof on it.
Go through the files
Oh, it's hard.
and all that big pile of stuff that I left.
The one that's up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's
That's it.
bad.
I need
Probably
to-
it's still paid a
I
pretty
need to
penny.
make sure that you can just tuck those files away now.
She,
You
The
know what I
ones
mean?
that you don't
it's a-
need
it was
out.
the bank of.
Yeah, so the ones that I have, there's some
And
stuff that should go into
they-
the
so
file
I
and then
asked
some
them,
stuff that I
whatever.
can probably cull out,
When
so
she
you
gets
don't have to
all
save everything.
said and done, she's
Knock
gonna
it
have
out.
it for about $2.99.